Welcome back as we continue our discussion about beef, corn, and sustainability issues. And Bruce, I want to start with you. What is the value you all see at Certified Angus Beef of the Beef Quality Assurance Program?
The approach that we've taken in the industry for the last 20 years or so has been really remarkable. When you look at product quality and how that product quality has evolved and improved, and it's rooted and foundational in beef quality assurance. Cattle care has improved.
Yes.
Beef quality has improved, and ultimately we have happier consumers. And that's reflected in what's happening with beef demand in the last 25 years.
You mentioned an important topic, cattle care. We spent a lot of time talking about sustainability in this conversation, but cattle care really is an important issue for consumers, is it not?
Absolutely. When you look at what really matters to consumers now, beyond flavor, beyond tenderness, cattle care is an important component of that. And they want to understand not so much about what are we doing that is different, but they want to understand what are we doing in general, because it does matter to them what we are doing in terms of cattle care.
Yeah. Don, I would ask you, Beef Quality Assurance Program has been around a long time. What has it done or what is it doing to improve consumer perception and comfort with beef?
It allows them to give some certainty that what we've been doing all along, and that is taking care of animals, is paramount to the success of any beef operation or any cattle operation for that matter. So what it does is it documents and shows them in real life that yes, we are abiding to these principles of animal care and welfare that are very important to them.
And I'm curious, Ben, we talk about in the beef cattle industry how we become BQA certified, but as a farmer, you're getting certified in a lot of ways too, is that right?
Absolutely. We have fertilizer certifications, we have chemical pesticide certifications, and BQA was just another one that, we had to go through the process of doing. And, in any other industry, we have to get, people have to go through training and classes, every year, every couple of years, or what so be. So why should we be any different? And it keeps us on top of our game, on top of our toes. Like for example, we built a new facility a few years ago, and I'll never forget this in a certification I did. I saw how taking out corners in a loading process really helps the flow and the functionality of loading pot loads of cattle. So when we built our new facility, we went and toured some different things, and we took out all the corners of our original idea, and we made a very, very smooth, better process in getting the cattle loaded in a quicker, more effective time. So.
I want to circle back to another topic, and Brandon, you've really prompted my thoughts relative to sustainability and something you said earlier. Why do you think it's so important for us to be proactive in telling our sustainability story to consumers as opposed to reactive?
We're doing a lot of good things out there in the countryside, and we need to make sure that we're talking to consumers, that we're having those conversations, and they realize that they're able to come to us and ask us questions, so they don't come up with some sort of idea of something we're doing that they've read somewhere that's misleading. And so if we're doing that, we're showing what we're doing, that we're continually improving, that we're not just bad actors. We're really trying to improve the sustainable aspect of the farm so we can move it on from generation to generation, because we talk about it on our own farm. We want to make sure we have clean water to drink ourselves. We want to make sure that people can enjoy recreational areas. We want to make sure that we're not doing something that negatively impacts the environment as a whole, because that's detrimental to small rural America. And so we need to tell that story to make sure they understand that we're just like them. But we live in the same area. We're the ones that are the frontline defense for everything they have.
A lot of times in agriculture, we talk about, implementing sustainability practices because it's the right thing to do. But I'm curious, from a corn farmer's perspective, do you envision a time when a farmer might get paid more or differently based on the sustainability practices they have implemented on their farm?
I think we're really starting to see that concept come to play. A lot of times we'll talk about carbon markets, but besides carbon markets, but just to look at what's going on in the landscape of farming and just seeing that what is it that could be possibly paid for, or what is it that could be rewarded for those sustainable aspects we're taking, whether it's cover cropping, whether it's sensors for fertilizer application or irrigation application. Sustainability as a whole is probably the key forefront of what we need to look at, of how we can make sure farmers are rewarded for the practices they're doing.
Well, when you look at all of agriculture, producers respond to economic signals.
Yes.
And they have been responding to the signals of consumers relative to certified Angus beef for over 40 years. And now producers are beginning to capture the understanding that there's an economic signal that is going to be attached to sustainability. And consumers are going to say, this has a reward. And they'll respond.
I was intrigued by your comment because you have made a business out of creating value from a brand, but that brand has been based on a set of quality specifications. Do you envision a time when people pay more for not necessarily quality, how the beef tastes, but rather specifications around how it's been raised?
The founders of Certified Angus Beef had a vision, years ago, that if they delivered a product that was consistent and caused consumers to come back time and time again, that there would be an economic reward. And we've seen that, especially in the last 5 years. So as we add on additional attributes beyond the 10 specifications of product attributes, if we add on sustainability attributes as well, then there will be an economic reward associated with that.
What's your read? You talk to a lot of cattle producers across the country, Donnie. Do you perceive a time in which there will be differences in price of cattle based on the sustainability practices that are implemented on a particular farm or ranch?
Like most things, I think the requirements will rise, the bar will rise, and the expectation will be that you will do this to satisfy the consumers. And I think that's the road we're actually going down. Whether or not there's a specific monetary attachment to it, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you, as we move forward, consumers are more and more demanding and expecting that the cattle be raised in a certain fashion and that we treat the environment in a certain manner. And I think those are positive stories to tell anyway. We just need to kind of put it down on the paper and show them we are doing the right thing.
That's a great point. It's all about consumers. John?
I'm going to pivot back to the world platform because 97% of our consumers live outside of our borders. So I like to share with folks, while we're sleeping here, someone in the world is wide awake thinking about all the considerations to buying a corn product or value-added corn product. And we want to be that choice. We want to be the preferred supplier of those goods. And so in the absence of good information, bad information fills the void. So we really do have to be in front of this. We're going to be successful.
And I think we need to make people feel good about making the decision they want to make. I think people want to eat high quality, grain-fed U.S. beef. We just want to make sure they don't feel guilty doing it. And if we can assure them of our sustainability and beef quality assurance story, I think they can feel good while they're doing what they want to do anyway.
And Kevin, the important thing is doing the right thing is always the right answer. And I think that's where it all boils down to, is doing the right thing. And farmers and ranchers have been doing that for years.
Great comment. And we'll be back to wrap up this special edition of Cattleman to Cattleman with some final thoughts next. Stay with us.
We know you're up before the dawn because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global is here to help you do just that.
Did you know that Priefert makes over 1,000 different farm, ranch, and rodeo items? And now, thanks to Priefert Direct, it's easier than ever before to get access to every item Priefert makes delivered direct to your local dealer. For more information about Priefert Direct, visit us at Priefert.com. Priefert, America's #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo.